Schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is a complex chronic health disorder characterized by the array of symptoms including delusions, hallucinations, disorganized speech or behavior, and impaired cognitive ability. So, actually, the schizophrenia is a thought disorder in which your thoughts are disturbed and your perception is disturbed. Actually it is the disturbance of the thought and perception. And related to thoughts, there are the delusions. And what is delusion? Delusion is the firm false belief which cannot be shaken with arguments and which is contrary to the evidence. You are going to give evidence, but that person is not going to take point of view in that regard. For example, someone may have delusion of paranoia. Paranoia is related to the fear or having some harm in the near future. And someone may have the delusion of grandiosity. Grandiosity कहते हैं self important ideas को. He or she may consider herself as uh, very important, or uh, a person in mania may have this delusion of grandiosity. And the hallucination, what is hallucination? Hallucination is the perception without stimulus. There is no stimulus, but the person is having uh, person is having perception of anything, such as the hallucinations may be auditory, visual, gustatory, olfactory, or tactile. And there is also one very important component is the cognitive, impaired cognitive ability. So a person is not able to think logically, and there is the irrelevant speech or bizarre behavior in this related to this component. What is the epidemiology of the schizophrenia? Schizophrenia is about affects about 1% of the population, 0.8 to 1% of the population, and it has been seen that about more than 21 million people worldwide are suffering from schizophrenia, and the prevalence of the disorder seems to be equal in male and female, although the onset of symptoms occur at an earlier age in male than in females. Male tend to experience their first episode of schizophrenia in their early 20s, whereas the women typically experience their first episode in their late 20s or early 30s. But there is a second peak in females after the age of 40s as well, which is called a late onset schizophrenia. But you have to consider schizophrenia, you have to consider the medical or neurological issue before making the diagnosis of schizophrenia. You have to rule out medical or neurological issue, because if someone who is having who has been using any substance such as cannabis or any psychoactive substance may exhibit schizophrenic symptoms, and the person who is having some neurological disorder such as epileptic phenomena, he may also experience hallucinations. So before making the diagnosis of schizophrenia, you have to see the neurological and medical issues. And regarding medical issues, there may be the electrolyte imbalance. There are many tumor of the brain which may present with the psychosis or schizo. Drug-induced psychosis is another category in which the person may present with hallucination, delusions, bizarre behavior. So you have to take the detailed history regarding the neurological or medical complaints, history of drug abuse, and the medication which the person is taking currently. And now, what is the etiology of schizophrenia? Mostly, etiology of schizophrenia is unknown. It's unclear, but genetical vulnerability is having high potential to cause schizophrenia. And if you see in this slide, the general population is having risk of schizophrenia only 1%, but the monozygotic twins are having 47% of the heritability estimates, and the dizygotic twins are having 12%. If someone is having one schizophrenic parent, the chances of having schizophrenia are 12% more as compared to 1% in the general population. And the if the both of the both father and mother are schizophrenic, then the chances of having a schizophrenic kid is raised to 40%. First degree relative 12%, there is increased risk of 12%, and in second degree relative it's about 5 to 6% more as compared to the general population. One of the hypotheses of the schizophrenia is the viral infection, and it has been seen, but it's not confirmed. It has been seen that exposure to the influenza and winter birds are mm, related to the cause of schizophrenia. And the other component is the immune dysfunction. Anti-cardiolipin antibody and anti-nuclear antibody, these two antibodies that are used as a marker of autoimmune vulnerability, have been shown to be increased in the patients with schizophrenia in some, but not all studies of this illness. So it's debatable whether there are multiple factors related to the schizophrenia, but no one is confirmed. Other component is the birth complication. Hypoxia may be the possible cause of the schizophrenia, and because in hypoxia there is hypothalamus, hippocampus, and some neocortical regions are particularly sensitive to the shortfall in oxygen, and thus one proposed mechanism for a role of pregnancy and birth complication in the cause of schizophrenia involves hypoxia mediated damage to these areas. Now we come to the classification of the schizophrenia, but before classification, I would like to tell you about the major symptom of schizophrenia, okay, with which complaints patient present to the psychiatrist. Mostly the patient is brought to the psychiatrist with the complaints of positive symptoms and negative symptoms. This is the clinical presentation. In clinical presentation, the person may present with the hallucinations, delusions, disorganized speech or behavior, and catatonic behavior. And these hallucinations and delusions are comes in the category of positive symptoms. Positive symptoms are those symptoms which should not be present in a normal person, but these are added in that person. Means someone who is normal should not have hallucinations or delusions, but in that person, these hallucinations and delusions are added. So the I already told what is delusion. Delusion is a firm false belief which cannot be shaken with arguments and which is contrary to the evidence. And hallucinations are the perception without stimulus. So these are not present in a normal person, but these are added in that person, and it leads to the disorganized thought and perceptual phenomena. And the negative symptoms are those which should be present in a normal person. Means a normal person should behave uh, well, and he or she should have logical thinking, logical replies. There should be no apathy, there should be some emotional reactivity, and they should have energy and a drive to initiate anything. But in negative symptoms, they have blunted emotions, anhedonia, and lack of feelings and lack of energy to, and they are having evolution. They are not having any will to do anything. Actually, these negative symptoms, it is called as negative symptom, means these things should be present in a normal person, but that person is lacking the normal characteristics which should be present in a normal person. So the schizophrenia mostly present with the positive symptoms or negative symptoms, and sometimes negative symptoms may resemble the symptoms of the depression. So one of the differential diagnosis which is made in the cases of schizophrenia is the depressive disorder, because if someone is having lack of interest, lack of energy, anhedonia, and lack of feelings, so we may wrongly diagnose that person as having depressive disorder. The other component is the cognition. There is impaired cognition in the schizophrenia. Person is not able to learn new things, and there are the complaints of memory disturbance. And apart from the positive and negative symptom, person may have mood mood symptoms as well, such as social withdrawal, loss of motivation. These loss of motivation and social withdrawal also comes under the category of negative symptom of schizophrenia. So mostly patients present with the positive symptoms are negative symptoms. And coming back to the uh, types of the schizophrenia. In schizophrenia, mostly the schizophrenia is categorized into five major types. One type is the paranoid, in which the person is having delusions and hallucinations, and he or she is afraid of the things. Okay, people are against them, they want to harm them, and they are plotting some magic upon them. And other type is the catatonic schizophrenia. In catatonic schizophrenia, the person is having unusual motor activity, extreme negativism. Extreme negativism means if you want to move the limb of the person in one direction, he may resist for moving up that limb, and they may have the peculiar posturing. They may adopt a very odd or bizarre posture in this type of the schizophrenia. Other type is the hebephrenic schizophrenia. Hebephrenic schizophrenia or disorganized schizophrenia, in which the person is having childish silly behavior. He or she may adopt the childish behavior. And in undifferentiated schizophrenia, it is the mixture of the symptoms, and it's having a bad prognosis as compared to the other types. Other category is the residual schizophrenia. What is the definition of the residual schizophrenia? That at least one episode of schizophrenia experienced in the past, but no longer exhibiting the signs of the disorder, but there are some negative symptoms present in that person. Means he is totally, he is, although he is not having positive schizophrenic symptom, but there are residual negative symptom of schizophrenia. And other category is the post-schizophrenic depression. Post-schizophrenic depression is that if someone has developed schizophrenia and he has been treated for that schizophrenia, there are no psychotic symptoms in that person, but that person is having depressive symptom the sub after the subsiding of the schizophrenic symptoms. And the another category is the simple schizophrenia. In a simple schizophrenia, person is having negative symptom with no history of psychosis. There is onset of schizophrenia is with the negative symptoms. It is the simple schizophrenia. And what about the pathophysiology? It has been seen that in the persons who are suffering from schizophrenia, there are high level of the dopamine activity in the nucleus accumbens and dopaminergic hypofunction in the frontotemporal region. Means there is the disturbance of the distribution of the dopamine. In some areas of the brain, there is the high quantity of the dopamine, and the areas which are related to your cognition and your uh, memory related parts of the brain, such as the frontal lobe, there are the decreased level of the dopamine. So apart from psychotic symptom, person is also having cognitive and memory issues. And PET studies also suggest an increased density of the D2 receptors in the nucleus accumbens. Means there are high high abundance of the there is the abundance of the D2 receptors in the nucleus accumbens, so that there are the increased level of the dopamine in this area of the brain. PET studies assessing D1 function suggest that subpopulation of the schizophrenic may have decreased density of D1 receptors in the prefrontal cortex. Like the high level of the dopamine and high level of the D2 receptors in the nucleus accumbens, which is mostly related to the psychotic phenomenon, there are the decreased level of dopamine along with the decreased level of D1 receptor densities in the prefrontal cortex or frontotemporal region, which are related to the cognitive and learning or memory function of the brain. So that person is having poor memory and poor cognition apart from the psychotic phenomenon. Thus, positive symptoms are thought to result from the overactivity in the mesolimbic dopaminergic pathways activating D2 receptor, where the negative symptom may result from a decreased activity in the mesocortical dopaminergic pathways, where D1 receptors predominate. Other hypothesis is the glutamate or NMDA receptor hypofunction, and decreased level of NMDA receptors in the mesocortical dopaminergic neuron is also related to the schizophrenia. This would result in decrease in the dopamine release in the prefrontal cortex and thus give rise to the negative symptom of schizophrenia. On the other hand, and NMDA receptors hypofunction is thought to enhance the activity in the mesolimbic dopaminergic pathways, because in this pathway the important NMDA receptors are those located on the GABAergic interneurons. GABA activity is also related to the schizophrenia. GABA is the inhibitory neurotransmitter, and the person who are having poor GABAergic activity may exhibit more psychotic symptoms. Other hypothesis is the 5-hydroxytryptamine level. Serotonergic receptors are present on the dopaminergic axon, and it is known that the stimulation of these receptors will decrease dopamine release in the prefrontal cortex. Patients with schizophrenia with abnormal brain scans have higher or whole blood 5-hydroxytryptamine concentration, and these concentrations are correlated with the increased ventricular size. 5-हाइड्रोक्सीट्रिप्टामाइन लेवल्स जो इंक्रीज होते हैं तो उसकी वजह से भी साइकोसिस जो है वो वर्स हो सकता है. 5-हाइड्रोक्सी so it has been seen that if someone who is having schizophrenia and the other end he has been given antidepressant which causes the increased level of 5-hydroxytryptamine level in the brain, it leads to the worsening of the psychotic phenomena. अब जो है स्किज़ोफ्रेनिया के पेशेंट को अगर दे दें एंटी डिप्रेसेंट तो उसका साइकोसिस वर्स हो सकता है, क्योंकि स्किज़ोफ्रेनिया में ऑलरेडी 5-हाइड्रोक्सीट्रिप्टामाइन लेवल बड़े होते हैं और एंटी डिप्रेसेंट उसको मजीद फ्लेयर अप कर देता है. एटिपिकल एंटीसाइकोटिक्स विद पोटेंट 5-hydroxytryptamine receptors antagonist effects reverse worsening of the symptomatology induced by 5-hydroxytryptamine agonist in the patients with the schizophrenia. Clinical presentation, I already told about this. Hallucinations, auditory hallucinations, visual hallucinations, and tactile, olfactory, gustatory hallucinations. And hallucinations are different from the illusions. Illusion is the misperception of the stimulus, but the hallucination is the perception without stimulus. Delusions, I already told about the delusions, and they may be paranoid delusions in which the person believes that other people are trying to harm them. And how you are going to make the diagnosis of schizophrenia. First thing which you have to keep in your mind regarding the diagnosis of schizophrenia, it is the criteria of ICD-10. In ICD-10 criteria, International Classification of Diseases criteria, if someone is having delusions, hallucinations, and cognitive abnormality, and the other symptom of schizophrenia, such as negative symptoms of the schizophrenia, for more than 1 month, then you are going to consider that person as having schizophrenia. Before the before the duration of 1 month, their symptoms may be categorized in the heading of acute psychotic disorder. Because in acute psychotic disorder, although the person is having delusion, hallucination, but the symptoms are of less than 1 month. And if someone is having the symptoms more than 1 month, even after getting the treatment for that, so that person may be categorized as having schizophrenia. तो ये IC10 का क्राइटेरिया है. But in DSM-4, which is the American classification, they they are having um, the schizophrenic symptoms should persist at least for 6 months. तो उनका क्राइटेरिया थोड़ा वो ज़्यादा ड्यूरेशन का है. So the diagnosis, there is no definite test to diagnose the schizophrenia. Diagnosis is mostly based upon the detailed history, but brain imaging, CT or MRI may show the increased cerebral ventricles or lateral third ventricles enlargement, and PET scan may show the hypoactivity of the frontal lobes and increased level of the dopamine in the mesolimbic areas and the nucleus accumbens. Psychological test, IQ test, and neuropsychological testing. Actually, there is no need to get these tests if you are having a detailed history and that person is fulfilling that criteria. How you are going to manage this case? Management is according to the biopsychosocial model, biological treatment, psychological treatment, and social treatment. So, in schizophrenia, you can't treat the acute symptom of schizophrenia with the help of psychotherapy. There is no role of psychotherapy in the acute phase of schizophrenia. You have to treat that person biologically, means with help of medications. And regarding help of medication, you have to select the antipsychotic according to the height, build, age of the patient, as I already told in my lectures for depressive disorder. And if, for example, if someone is having poor sleep, you are going to prescribe antipsychotics which is having sedative properties. On the other hand, if someone is complaining of uh, uh, increased sleep and already sleeping more than desired, so you are going to prescribe the antipsychotic which is not going to make him zombie. So you have to select the antipsychotic according to the height, build, age of the person. And antipsychotics are mostly categorized into the first generation antipsychotics, second generation antipsychotics. The first generation antipsychotics are the old antipsychotics, such as the haloperidol, trifluperazine, and chlorpromazine. These are the first generation or old antipsychotic. And the second generation antipsychotics, which are the newer antipsychotics, are the olanzapine, risperidone, quetiapine, ziprasidone, aripiprazole, and uh, and iloperidone. These are the newer antipsychotics, second generation antipsychotics. And according to the Maudsley guideline, if someone comes to you with the history of new onset of schizophrenia, the drug of choice is the second generation antipsychotic. Whether it may be a risperidone, it may be olanzapine, and it may be ziprasidone, or it may be aripiprazole. It depends upon the height, build, age of the person, because these antipsychotics are notorious to cause the metabolic syndrome, the second generation. In metabolic syndrome, there is the potential to have high blood pressure, high sugar levels, and obesity. Second generation antipsychotics are notorious to cause metabolic syndrome, and first generation antipsychotics, old antipsychotics. For old antipsychotic, it is said that old is gold. These old antipsychotics are very important, and these are having least metabolic uh, side effects. But these are notorious to cause the extrapyramidal symptoms such as the rigidity, bradykinesia, and neuroleptic malignant syndrome. Haloperidol is notorious to cause the neuroleptic malignant syndrome, which is a medical emergency. So you have to start antipsychotic with very low dose, and you have to see about the therapeutic dose of that drug, and you have to monitor the side effect of that person as well. And in schizophrenia, the duration of treatment is at least 1 year to 2 years after the resolution of the symptom, and even after the complete recovery you have to continue antipsychotic for at least 1 to 2 years, depending upon the severity of the symptom of that person and his response to that drug. And in side effects, the first generations are having the potential to cause extrapyramidal symptoms such as rigidity and drooling of saliva, tremors, akathisia. Akathisia is the motor or psychic restlessness. Person is not able to sit at a place. Neuroleptic malignant syndrome, which is characterized by the high grade fever, rigidity, and uh, autonomic instability. Sometimes having high blood pressure, on the other hand, having low blood pressure and perspiration. Another category is the tardive dyskinesia. The tardive dyskinesia is the abnormal bodily movements of the limbs. So you have to change from uh, first generation antipsychotic to second generation antipsychotic if someone is having these side effects. On the other hand, if you have prescribed second generation antipsychotic to someone, so you have to, and that person is having metabolic side effects, you have to change to the first generation. This is the list of the first generation antipsychotic: chlorpromazine, fluphenazine, haloperidol, and trifluperazine are the mostly prescribed in the Pakistan. And these are the second generation antipsychotics. And in this slide, you see the clozapine on the top, but actually clozapine is not a first line drug in the cases of schizophrenia. Clozapine is a wonderful drug which is reserved for the treatment resistant schizophrenia. If someone is not responding to the 2 or 3 trials of different antipsychotics, then that person is labeled as resistant schizophrenia. And in that person, there is the indication of starting clozapine. But clozapine is notorious to cause the bone marrow suppression. So clozapine is started with very low dose, and its levels are monitored, and along with that you have to get complete blood picture, see blood CP every week, at least for 4 months, and after that you are going to get blood CP after every 1 month. So you are going to monitor the WBC count, neutrophil count, because clozapine is notorious to cause the neutropenia, leading to the bone marrow suppression. So clozapine is reserved only for the resistant cases of the schizophrenia, not for the newly onset schizophrenia. This is the list of the side effect profile of the different antipsychotics. Now we come to the psychosocial intervention of the schizophrenia. What psychosocial intervention can be done in the cases of schizophrenia? After getting cure from the acute symptoms, when the person is able to sit for psychotherapy and he or she is having a level of understanding, then you start the psychological intervention of that person. So in that non-pharmacological intervention, you give the info care to the patient and his family, what sort of illness he or she is having, what treatment is available, what side effects are there, and what other things can be done to improve his condition. And you have to justify the expectation of the family from that patient. For example, if someone is having schizophrenia but the family is having expectation that कि हमने अपने बेटे को पायलट या डॉक्टर बनाना है, and the other end that person is suffering from schizophrenia, so you have to counsel them about their expectation and the condition of that person. And social skill training, cognitive remediation. Okay, this slide is showing the famous people with the schizophrenia. On the number one is the Dr. John Nash. He is the Nobel Prize winner, and he suffered from the schizophrenia in his young age. And apart from having schizophrenia, he won the Nobel Prize. And there is a very beautiful movie on the life history of Dr. John Nash with the name of The Beautiful Mind. Another is the British guitarist Peter Green, who became famous for his signature sound, and he also suffered from the schizophrenia in later life. And another two picks are of the legendary football coach Vince Lombardi and the Edward Einstein, son of the Albert Einstein. He was diagnosed with a case of schizophrenia at the age of 20s. So it was all about the schizophrenia, and other disorders are related to the psychotic phenomena are the acute psychotic disorder, schizophreniform disorder, and schizoaffective disorder, along with the delusional disorder. An acute psychotic disorder, although the person is having delusions, hallucinations, and fulfilling the criteria of schizophrenia, but duration is of less than 1 month. And if someone is having more than symptoms having more than 1 month, then he is labeled as schizophrenia according to the ICD-10 criteria. And in schizophreniform disorder, the person is having psychotic symptom for less than 1 month, for more than 1 month, but less than 6 months. So in American classification, according to DSM-4, that person is labeled as a case of schizophreniform. And in ICD-10 criteria, you can label a person who is fulfilling the criteria of schizophrenia if duration is of more than 1 month. Another category is the schizoaffective disorder. In schizoaffective disorder, the person should, although the person is fulfilling the criteria of schizophrenia, but there is history of at least 2 weeks of mood symptoms, depression or manic symptoms. So that person is labeled as a case of schizoaffective disorder. The other category related to the psychosis is the delusional disorders. Delusional disorders are mostly the delusions which can happen in the real life, which are possible in the real life. And in the delusional disorder, the person is not having functional decline to the extent that he is not working anything. But in delusional disorder, the person can work adequately apart from having the impact of their delusion and having non-bizarre. Bizarre delusions are those which cannot happen in the real life, such as if someone is having delusion that there is a donkey inside his abdomen, it's a bizarre delusion. And if someone is having bizarre delusion, he or she may be diagnosed as a case of schizophrenia rather than delusional disorder. Because in delusional disorder, person should have a delusion which can happen in real life, such as the delusion of paranoia, delusion of poverty, delusion of nihilism, delusional jealousy, and such as the delusion of grandiosity. So it was all about the schizophrenia and related psychotic disorders. Thank you very much. Thank you.